Hello, DEWLiners. My name is Ron Blessin. I'm that handsome young guy at the left in this picture. Um, I'm 71 now, don't look quite like that, but this is Roki and Millie, his barmaid at Roki's Flame Room in Streeter, Illinois. This is Pin, Maine, and a very typical bedroom. There's Pin, Maine again. These slides have really changed color over the years, and I'm sorry for that. It's probably high time I did digitize them. I had to throw a lot away. There I am when the ocean was breaking up, the Beaufort Sea in this area. Lots of whale bones in this area. I suspect they're bowhead whales. There's Peter Montague Williams, who now lives in England, on some vertebrae. Here are a couple of little sandpipers. A summer storm. Storms in the summer beat out these caves at the tip of Cape Perry, and here in the wintertime they are festooned with hoarfrost and all kinds of very pretty ice particles. And these pictures were taken around the end of June. There's already water on the floor. And there I am cooling my rear end. And some natives had shot a seal. There's our old theater at Pin, Maine. I understand that thing was removed by the powers that be. There you can see the caves that the waves have beaten into Cape Perry. This is a bird sanctuary for muir auks. Arctic cotton. Whenever the ice moved out, we did a lot of boating, which was a great lot of fun. Certainly relieved some of the boredom. And then, of course, the fishing trips were just wonderful. Jeff Wilson on the left. The guy in the middle was a sector superintendent of something or other. I fished off the point at Pin, Maine, or Cape Perry. Caught an ugly, what looked like a codfish. This guy is Larry Badoy. I think he came from New Jersey, one of our crypto raditions. Then the sea lift came in. This is the POL tanker. And this is the LST. He even had a new bus for us this year. A lot of these pictures became very contrasty. Taken from the bridge of the LST and loading up the boat or unloading it. POL tanker again. Just laid some lines into the shore and discharged avgas. Here was a C-124 that crashed at Cam, Maine. I took this in 1957 in the RCAF when I went through Cam, Maine. Back to Pin, Maine. There's the Sealift boat discharging cargo. And there it is from down below. Here it is butted up against the shore. And there it is sailing by. It went by a number of times as it serviced other stations. Jesse O. Sandlin, a heck of a nice guy, Captain USAF, being sent home. And this is Eric Tuckey. He was a squadron leader in the RCAF. When he went home, got handcuffed. The Bishop of the Arctic came to visit. Our welcoming sign at Pin, Maine. Used it many times. Pacific Western LTI. This is a Avro York cargo aircraft that crashed off the end of the runway at Pin, Maine. Apparently the cargo wasn't secured down tightly and shifted back, making it tail heavy, and they were unable to continue the flight. Fog was a constant problem at Pin, Maine, and here's a DC-3 trying to land, and there was fog off both ends of the runway. Here comes a DC-4 with the same problem, and I stood next to the runway and got these pictures as it rounded the corner and came in and touched down. About a foot in the air at this point. This is what it's like flying in those things. This is the village area of Cape Perry, also the water hole on the right. There's the Hudson Bay Trading Post and Father de Hertevant's little chapel. And this is Pin, Maine, as we were coming in one day. Don't know where this is. Oh, for good exercise, you could climb up a 300-foot tower at some of the sites I was at, which got you good and winded. I think this was Pin 2. Flowers came out in abundance in the summertime. The snow had barely gone, and out they came. As did the lemmings. Certainly was nice to see something other than snow. The dogs tied up for the summer. This was at Pin B. We got a warehouse that year, and a helicopter came in for some reason or other. Midnight sun up over the Amundsen Gulf at this point, or Dolphin and Union Straits. Again, more whale bones. Came from a pretty big creature. A whale skull. Kids. This was at Pin B. Alec Cavalli, I assume it was his birthday. There I am with a Klystron from an FPS-23 transmitter. Guy made a motor scooter. That's a Super Cub. He's ready to land on very soft earth with those big tires. There's a lemming. They were all over the place at Pin 2 one year. There's the midnight sun again, or a sunset. The equipment rooms. This looks like the receiver room. Big patch panel. This is the radar room, the FPS 19. The rectifier is glowing in either the rearward or an FRC 45, the troposcatter equipment. There at night, the tubes just glowed in the dark. I think this is the transmitter room. I think. It's been a few years since I was up there. I think this is an FPS 23 transmitter at an eyesight. The only eyesight I was ever at was pin B. Now there I am. I'm tuning the klystron. Some of the native areas around there are pretty grim. Don't know who these guys are. One looks like George Towns on the right. This is pin 2. We had a real lonely drive all the way out to the water hole, which was the Inman River. There in the very center is the radar site. It was a long drive. These were some of the natives at pin B. Pin 1, I think. Maybe pin 2. They all start looking alike. This was taken at bar 3, or Tuktoyaktuk. I believe this is pin 1. Playing bumper pool. The one on the right is Gordon Naviak. I saw him in '95 in Tuktoyaktuk. This is the top of the FPS 23 Flutter Tower at pin B. And there are some of the pressure ridges on the ocean as it's starting to break up. Nothing has moved at this point, but there's a bit of water on the ice. Sunset in the summer at pin B. There's pin B in all its glory. Again, boating in the summertime, early summer. There I am at the helm. Adam Copon at pin B. Understand he lives at Tuk also. Here's why you get so many mosquitoes up there, the zillion lakes. George Towns in his own homemade boat on the Inman River. And with the melt came the seagulls by the thousands. This is pin 2. Had a hangar, and the runway is that streak that goes left to right. Pin 2. Getting water somewhere. Probably pin main. The road to the water hole washed out and the spring runoff. Jim Swain. Crazy Irishman. There the culverts were made out of 55-gallon drums that had been welded end on end. Nice cold water on top of the ocean ice. Giving a haircut. We did some real butcher jobs on guys. Looks like it's Christmas coming up. Sorry about the color in this, but things have faded. Christmas table set up at, I think it's pin 2. This is Harry Hand, Reverend Harry Hand. Heck of a nice Protestant chaplain. our Bombardier. Each site had one. That's an Otter aircraft, an old-timer. Then the Ice Patrol came in, Maritime Central Airways, out of somewhere in the East Coast. We even had a curling rink at Penmain, very illegal. It was probably ripped down too, and this was the bar there. Jeff Wilson behind the piano, don't know the other guy. We're putting vinyl on the piano. It was a pretty beat up one we took up there. This is interesting. We froze colored water, but the minute we put the booze inside, why, it cracked. There's Charlie Vandenberg, the chef. The guy just created all kinds of magic in the kitchen. He was really good, and that was at pin 1 or pin 2. That's Roy Cheyenne, the chef, on the right. A little native girl that came for Christmas one year. We had quite a Christmas party for the kids and invited the native staff to eat with us. And here are the kids opening their presents. Kids are kids are kids. That's Cliff Lathagy, the station chief at Pin 2. The other guy was Bernie something or other. Well, out on the ocean in the Bombardier and some of the pressure ridges. Turned the light on in the radome in the middle of winter one time, and this is the first day the sun rose at Pin 2. Just barely peaked above the horizon and then went away. I believe this is flying into Bar E, and in an Avro Anson, of course. A bamboo bomber. There's a sight in the middle of this somewhere or other. There you can see it a little better. Sure, a lot of white all over the place. And that's Pin 2. I'm originally from Chilliwack, British Columbia, and I was the northernmost reader of the Chilliwack Progress, so there I am reading it. Couple guys up in a pressure ridge. There are more pressure ridges on the ocean. You could buy a raw polar bear hide for $25. Wanigans at Pin 2. More pressure ridges out in the ocean. This is always a bad sign when you're wanting to go south. Here was one time when the vertical flight from Winnipeg had to land at Pin 2 because Pin Main was fogged in. At Bar 3, here's the village of Tuktoyaktuk. And the Hudson Bay Company resupply boat, the Banksland, which I understand sunk in '74. Well, having a little beer on a Saturday night, I guess. Jim Swain, he could start off standing up with a beer on his forehead and lie flat on the floor. Quite an amazing feat. Roger Forget, forget who the other guys are. Pin Main in the, no, that looks like Cam Main on one of the flights. Well, I guess that's the end of the DEWLine. Now This was a 1995 trip to Tuktoyaktuk, and Ann and I walked over to the Bar 3 site and looked at all the new stuff. The old site was still in the background, all boarded up under the radome. Boy, I'd have given my eye teeth to get inside that old building. I understand this is now all torn down. They didn't have these great big reflectors for the troposcatter when I worked up there. That's the new equipment. Pingos, great warts on the face of the earth. Lots of them around Tuk. And they're from the village of Tuk, as the DEWLine site. Here's Tuktoyaktuk village. And some sled dogs. Fish drying. And walking toward the airport. They have a non-ending supply of firewood here with all the driftwood that comes down the Mackenzie River, as this place is quite close to the mouth. There's Ann picking some Arctic cotton. Pretty flowers. We drove up to Inuvik, so this is taking the Dempster Highway back down. And then we took the Cassiar Highway. And beautiful drive. We went to Hyder, Alaska, which is the very tip of the Panhandle, and in this stream was one of the physically largest runs of chum salmon. There's a black bear in there catching them. But here you can see the salmon in water that is barely maybe 10 inches deep, and the bears in there, salmon skittering around on all sides of the bear. They had a heck of a time, and the seagulls went in there and picked up salmon eggs also. That white water is salmon skittering away. A nearby glacier. And then I don't know why I'm tacking this on, but this was when I was at Rockcliffe in Ottawa. I was in 408 Squadron. We had Lancasters, and you just don't see these things flying around anymore. This was getting ready for Air Force Day, and we took up 3 of them and flew in formation, standing behind the pilot here. Powered by actually Packard Merlin copies of a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, a V12 engine. There's Ottawa, the Canadian capital, and our air base just a mere few miles from Ottawa at Rockcliffe on the Ottawa River. And there one came right up behind us. There was a bubble window in the back of the one I was in. I stuck my camera in there and got this picture. Again, flying over Ottawa. And now that I've bored you with all that, it's the end.